Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is the first video of a 3-video series, and in this video I'm going to be making a Hello Kitty dog leash. This is a super easy project and it is perfect for those dog lovers because now you can easily personalize their accessories. The only thing I want to make a note of is that you want to make sure that you have a little bit sturdier of a sewing machine and a brand new needle, especially one that is made for thicker fabrics, because there can be a few bulky parts on the leash that you're going to have to sew through. I'm using woven cotton fabric, so make sure you pre-wash before you get started. To figure out your leash length, you're just going to take your desired length, exactly the size you want, and add 11 inches to that number. So I'm making a 72-inch leash and I'm adding 11 inches for the seam allowances and everything like that. So I'm going to need an 83-inch strip of fabric. So the amount of fabric you need will depend on the length of the strip that you're cutting out. I'm putting this on my corgi and she's a medium-sized dog, so my strap will be 1 inch wide, which means I'm going to cut my strip to 3.75 inches wide. So you can use this chart for a reference to the size strap that you want. And also for the hardware and the cotton webbing, I am also using a 1 inch lobster claw and 1 inch wide cotton webbing, since I am making a 1 inch wide strap for my medium-sized dog. So basically the size strap that you want will correlate with the size of the hardware and cotton webbing that you need to get. I will leave a link down below for where I've got my hardware from and the cotton webbing. So first thing, of course, I'm going to cut out my strip, which was the 83 by 3.75 inches. And then I'm going to take my cotton webbing and I'm going to cut the same length minus 1 inch. So I'm going to cut an 82-inch piece. That allows for a 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides. Take your strip of fabric and we're going to fold up one side 1/2 inch all the way across and iron this down. And then flip your strip over to the other side and we're going to line up our cotton webbing with this edge. Make sure to leave a 1/2 inch from the edge of your strip. And I'm just going to clip this together and we're going to sew this on at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then I'm going to fold up the cotton webbing edge, making sure it's folded over nicely, and I'm going to iron this down. And then I'm going to fold over the other side, making sure the edges line up perfectly. Then once again, I'll iron this down so that it stays in place. And I'll clip this edge together. I'm going to go to the ends and open these back up, and I'm going to fold that edge in 1/2 inch, making sure that it's lined up nicely. I'm going to iron this down. Then I'm going to refold this edge up so you should have a nice finished end. Do this to both sides. I'm going to do a 1/8 inch top stitch on both edges all the way across. Now that our strap is made, we're going to go to one end and fold over about 8 inches. Make sure that the side that you want to show is on top and you're folding it back to the wrong side of the strap. And I'm just going to clip this in place for now. And then going to the other side with my wrong side face up, I'm going to grab my lobster claw and I'm going to place the claw part face down, so that way you're folding over the wrong sides together. And I'm going to fold this over about 2 to 2.5 inches, and I'm going to clip this down as well. So we're going to sew this in place, and I'm going to sew right across under the lobster claw as close as my machine will allow. And then on the edge I'm going to do a square with an X in the middle, and you're going to do the same square and X at the edge of the handle as well. And then I'm going to make sure to go over this a few times so that it's very sturdy and secure. So the way I sewed on this square is I'm just going to start on one side and I'm just going to go back and forth at least 3 or 4 times. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to pivot my fabric to a new direction. And I'm going to sew across again doing the same thing. And I'm going to go all the way around creating my square. And then I'm going to turn my fabric to make the X through the middle. You want to go very slowly with this. If you have a basic sewing machine, it may take some time, but the slower the better. You'll have less issues with thread breaking or your needle breaking or thread getting caught, because I ran into all of these issues when I was trying to rush, because with all the layers of the cotton webbing and the fabric make it pretty thick. So just take your time sewing this down. I'm going to grab a small piece of hot pink cotton fabric. I'm going to cut out 2 rectangles that are 6 by 3 inches. I'm also going to cut out a small square of 3 by 3 inches. Starting with the small square, I'm going to fold this up into a little triangle and I'm going to cut this into a circle. The size circle is up to you. I'm just kind of placing it and deciding what I like. And then with the rectangle, you're going to fold it in half and then again lengthwise. And I'm going to curve out the edges because Hello Kitty has that kind of circular like bow. Once again, I'm going to check to make sure it's how I like. And then we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around the edge, leaving about a 2-inch gap on one side. And same thing with the circles, making sure to leave about a 1 inch to 1.5 inch gap. I'm going to take some small scissors and I'm just going to make some little tiny slits around the curves, making sure not to cut past the thread. And this is just going to help it lay nicely when we turn it out. Go ahead and flip both of these right side out, and you can use a pencil or chopstick to poke out the edges so they're nice and neat. Then I'm going to take a little bit of stuffing and I'm going to start stuffing both of these. And you can go ahead and add as much as you want. Make sure not to completely fill up the main bow. You do still want to have a little bit of movement. I'm going to pin these edges for now, and I'm going to slip stitch both of these openings closed. Taking the rectangular part of the bow, I'm going to pinch in the middle to make sure all the stuffing is where I want it to go. And I'm going to grab a needle and thread, making sure to tie a knot at the end. And I'm just going to stitch right across the middle to pinch the center closed. And I'm going to just wrap the thread around a couple times to secure it, and then I'll tie a knot. We're going to add on the center, and we're just going to sew this onto the middle as well. And now you have a cute little Hello Kitty bow. Going back to the leash, I'm going to start on the edge with the lobster claw. Taking my needle and thread again, I'm going to sew through the middle of the thread of the square, because the needle won't go through the leash itself since it's so thick with the cotton webbing, but it should be sturdy enough holding on to all the layers of thread. And I'm just going to sew this on. And that's all there is to it. I think the bow just makes this super cute. I think any Hello Kitty fan would love this for their pet. The cotton webbing makes this very sturdy. I hope you like this part 1, and I will have part 2 coming soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!